Hi, welcome to Historyland. I'm Josh, and today we're talking about Wonder Woman. The 1940s superhero whose superhuman abilities have more to do with history and mythology than you might think. Yes, I hear the cynical cry. He's just doing this video to ride the coattails of the new action movie Wonder Woman. Well, to those people I say, shame on you. And I trust your instincts because they're very good. Yes, part of the reason I'm doing this video is because of the movie. But that does not mean I don't have something to say. Well, before I do any coattail surfing, we need to get one thing clear. Wonder Woman is an Amazon. And therefore we should briefly cover what an Amazon is. So, in case you haven't been around for the last 10 or 20 years, an Amazon is a mythical female warrior who forms part of a tribe of female warriors who have cut themselves off from civilization to live in an all-female environment. They were a big deal in ancient mythology and folklore. Pretty much anybody who was anybody in the heroic pantheon had to have killed one or captured something of them. I suppose kind of the equivalent of, stealing something from the nurse's dorm room in one of the Doctor in the House movies. But always acknowledging that that's really brave and heroic to do. Especially since the Amazons, whether you're talking the mythical ones or the real ones, were not people that you really wanted to be stealing stuff from. So, having covered all that, Wonder Woman is an Amazon. Why is this important? What's in the story, to start with? First, you don't think it really is. First, you think it's just a clever plot device. But then I read this book by a very clever woman called Adrienne Mayer. And that's pretty much a book all about everything you've ever wanted to know about these pretty deadly women fighters. Now, if you read this book, you'll find out that the author puts together an argument that there was a reality behind the stories of the Amazons, a story rooted in a people known as the Scythians, who lived around the coast of the Black Sea and in those mountainous regions in the Caucasus and up on the steppes, really wild places where the nomads lived. And the ancient Greeks and Romans used them as stories. And to be honest, we're still doing the same thing because Wonder Woman is a part of that tradition. Now, a lot of the things that make Wonder Woman instantly identifiable as a superhero is her appearance and the tools she uses to do what she does. First thing you probably notice about Wonder Woman, except for the fact she's running around wearing a bathing suit, is that she's also wearing a tiara. I'm going to use this as a thread-thin connection to the historical and mythological Amazons. The Scythians liked flashy headgear. They used to wear embroidered leather caps called Phrygian caps, and they were famous for them. This is a piece of headwear that is obviously it's very unique. It wasn't something the Greeks wore or the Romans wore, and it has a slightly pointed top back here, not up here. And so, of course, Wonder Woman is not wearing a Phrygian hat. She looks silly in it. It's much more practical to wear a bathing suit, isn't it? With boots. I mean, come on. But, no. This is about show. And yes, Wonder Woman is principally wearing a tiara because she's supposed to be a princess. As I said, this is really, really thin, wafer thin argument. Now I get on to the lasso. And I call it a lasso, not a lasso, because I'm British. You might think this is part of her American identity, the American identity of a mysterious woman who lives on an island that has been populated for thousands of years by a obscure Eastern European nomadic tribe. Yeah. Anyway, that tradition, but no, it's actually the nomadic tribe tradition. Lassos and lassoing things with lariats is one of the strongest Amazonian and Scythian traditions, whether it's in art or fact. Even today, it's a very handy tool for nomads to have. You can use it in battle, and you can use it in day-to-day life. Next we have the belt. Wonder Woman wears a belt. It's a special belt. It helps her keep her powers, makes her superhuman away from her island, where everybody is superhuman. I think this sounds a lot like the war girdle or the war belt of the Amazon queen Hippolyte. Now, in ancient times, a girdle wasn't just a feminine thing. But Hippolyte's belt or girdle was known as the Belt of Ares, and it was one of the trials of Hercules to obtain it. Hercules had to go and get it from her, and of course he did. And the significance of that is really interesting because that's really a superhero story from ancient times. Moving on, we have the physical ability that is displayed here. She's a superhero, she has a magic belt, so we could assume this gives her an edge. But she's also an Amazon. And Amazons, just by themselves, without any kind of hocus pocus, could usually take on multiple enemies, whether they were men, women, or animals. In reality, they were ferocious fighters, because they had to be able to do everything the men could do, so that when the men went off hunting, or a proportion of both went off hunting or fighting, they could defend the home. Moving on to islands. Every superhero has to have a secret lair. Wonder Woman has her own island in the Bermuda Triangle. In reality, there were Amazon islands mentioned in the tales of Jason and the Argonauts. There was an island where the Amazons went to sacrifice before going to war, and just as a bonus, archaeologists have turned up an island in the Black Sea on the border of where the Scythian domain was. It's a mysterious, uninhabited island with large, round black rocks on it. A real Amazon island is called Giresun Island. Just check it out online or something, because it's very interesting. Now we come to the last piece of the thread that connects this storytelling tradition from the Scythians to the Amazons to superheroes today, and that is Scythian Amazonian traditions of nomadic women warriors were not based about any kind of superiority or hatred for men. That's reflected in the message that Wonder Woman gives out. Sure, she can beat up guys. A lot of guys are her enemies, but there's nothing personal about it. And that is my roundup of how we get from Scythians to Amazons to Wonder Woman. Thanks for watching.